For the first time in 23 years, the Green Bay Packers have finally selected a wide receiver in the first round by selecting Matthew Golden out of the University of Texas. Despite challenges with the pass rush and uncertainties with Jaire Alexander, going cornerback or defensive line edge was definitely a realistic possibility in the first round. But when you pretty much have the second best wide receiver in the draft and someone within the top 100 prospect rankings who is pretty much top 20, him falling in your lap was a no-brainer for the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers do need a playmaker and do need a deep threat wide receiver in this room, especially with Christian Watson being out up until week 12 and week 13. With Christian Watson on the field, he was a huge help for Jordan Love and this passing offense against man coverage. But we all saw of how this wide receiver core looks when Watson is not on the field. It does seem like getting 5 to 10 yards in the passing game was a bit of a struggle whenever we had Romeo Doubs, Wicks, and Jaden Reed. There are also times where when Jordan Love would throw the ball and Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks were top 10 in drop passes. Just having that core of just Dobbs, Reed, and Wicks, it just didn't seem like it was enough for a very explosive offense, right? When you look at Matthew Golden, he has elite explosiveness at the snap of the ball. He is very quick, or he ran the fastest 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine in terms of receivers, a 4.29 40-yard dash. Matthew Golden is a wide receiver where if you are playing press man coverage, he will probably burn you on a go route. And if you play off man coverage on Matthew Golden, he could definitely sell a go route and use his quick route running ability to stop on a dime on post routes, dig routes, or just pretty much just fooling a cornerback in off man coverage. But whenever I look at Matthew Golden, I know this is a very high comparison, very, very high comparison. When you watch Matthew Golden play, especially his highlights, just watching him, he gives me Tyreek Hill vibes. I know that's a huge comparison, but just kind of having that deep threat ability in your wide receiver core and just giving Jordan Love that kind of toy and weapon on this offensive core, that is huge for this offense. And Matt LaFleur is definitely going to get creative in terms of how he will use Matthew Golden in this offense. The Green Bay Packers have 4 wide receivers hitting free agency after this upcoming season, so getting a wide receiver very early was also a very realistic possibility, right? And out of those 4 receivers, Christian Watson and Dobbs are the ones that are probably going to hit free agency after this coming season. We do not know what the status is for Romeo Dobbs. Christian Watson hasn't been healthy during his rookie year contract, so there is a great possibility that this may be the last of Christian Watson on this team at the end of the season. And then Romeo Dobbs, we do not know what his future is looking like. He did suffer some concussion issues, did have a suspension in terms of conduct issues, but we do not know what's going to happen with Romeo Dobbs. Do they let him go in free agency and just get that comp pick? Do they trade him during the season? I mean, out of all players with pretty much good trade value, it kind of seems like Romeo Dobbs does have the best trade value in terms of his availability, his ability to be a solid wide receiver 2 on a team, or the ability just to have great hands. Because out of anyone on this team, and I'm excluding Watson, Dobbs pretty much has the best hands this past season, or pretty much from what I've seen within the past couple years. So he is definitely a good wide receiver in terms of hands, but the wide receiver core is a uncertainty after this upcoming season. Getting Matthew Golden was a really, really solid pick. If I were to give this a draft grade, I have to give it an A. This offense needs playmakers, right? You cannot go into the season without getting a top wide receiver in this draft. And God forbid Romeo Dobbs suffer another concussion injury. Now you have Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, either have Bo Melton, either Malik Heath. But this pick is pretty much telling Jordan Love that they have full confidence in Jordan Love. They want Jordan Love to succeed, and they definitely want to have a Super Bowl ring very, very soon. Damn near every single quarterback in the NFL have a first round pick in a wide receiver on their team. And it's only right to give Jordan Love that kind of draft pick, right? You have Malik Neighbors on the New York Giants, Brian Thomas Jr. on the Jaguars, Jamar Chase on the Bengals, JSA on the Seahawks. I mean, the list can go on, but it is very crucial, especially in this time of game in the NFL. Having a first round talent wide receiver on your team will definitely give you the best chance to compete, give you the best chance to get a Super Bowl ring, but it is very crucial to have high end talent wide receivers on your team. But overall, I do believe that this was a very solid pickup for the Green Bay Packers. I do love the draft pick. I understand that there are needs on the defensive trenches. There are needs in the cornerback room if they do decide to let Jaire Alexander go. There is need against the offensive linemen, as there are 3 offensive linemen hidden free agency after the coming season. I do expect Zach Tom to get the bag, so we're probably looking at Sean Ryan and potentially Rasheed Walker leaving this upcoming season. So I do see us tackling those positions on day 2 and day 3. But overall, my thoughts on this is this team really needs someone in this room to step up to be a wide receiver one. I do know that Matthew Golden does have that capability to be that wide receiver one. Someone on this team has to step up to be the wide receiver one. I do not think this is the last wide receiver pick in the NFL draft. I do expect the Green Bay Packers to select at least a true X boundary receiver, someone that's over 6 foot tall. Is it Jaden Higgins in round 2? Is it Jack Besh? Maybe. I believe he may be a slot at the NFL level. Is it Dante Thornton? But we just need one more pick at the wide receiver core. And I believe that this future is looking really bright for this wide receiver core, especially if they do decide to let Watson and Dobbs leave. But overall, I love this pick. Solid A grade and about damn time the Green Bay Packers select a wide receiver in the first round. Jordan Love has his toy. Matt LaFleur can finally get creative, and Matthew Golden can be a great playmaker for the wide receiver core. But let me know your comments and thoughts below on this selection for Matthew Golden, your expectations for Matthew Golden. But overall, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much, and catch you guys next time.